Greetings everyone and welcome to another episode of First Thoughts. On this episode, I will be doing my non-spoiler review for Hotel Artemis. Also, I kind of noticed in my previous reviews I've never really said who I am. My name is Matt Sella. Hi, how you doing? I'm your movie reviewer for this channel. So once again, this is a non-spoiler review, so I won't be giving away the ending of this film or anything like that. I'll just be giving my general impressions, my pros, my cons, and I'll let you know what my overall thoughts were. Simple? So first off, I gotta give my props to Jodie Foster. She did a fantastic job playing the nurse, the manager of the Hotel Artemis, which is actually a hospital for the underground criminal folks. In many ways, it's like John Wick, but instead of a hotel where you could stay at, it's actually a hospital for those who have been injured during heists, murders, or whatever. It's for the criminal, mobs and all that stuff. Open to anyone who has a membership. And Jodie Foster plays a nurse who tends to all her patients, but of course you gotta go in following the rules. That's all about her character. She likes to go by a strict code of conduct, and it really plays into her character. Now, I'm not super familiar with Jodie Foster and her past. Maybe I've seen a couple films that she was in, but never gave it much thought until now. But my goodness, I really think it was fitting for her to be the main character. She's a very flawed character. While she may initially be in control at the very beginning, you can tell that she definitely has some form of baggage that kind of pushed her into this kind of life to help criminals heal things and do all that. And she definitely has that backstory, which I can only say as much that she lost her son during what appeared to be an overdose, and it really left an impression on her where she has trouble kind of like going out and trying new things, and she just kind of stuck in this hotel. She's cooped up there, she's happy there, and when shit goes crazy, she has to come out of her comfort zone and come to terms with certain things of her past. Flawed protagonist? Stellar acting. Good job, Jodie Foster. And another highlight for me on Jodie Foster's character is Dave Bautista playing Everest, who is pretty much the muscle of the hospital. He is a healthcare kind of assistant nurse to the nurse who's actually more of a doctor, but if you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, which I'm assuming most of you have, you kind of know the range of Dave Bautista's acting, and he likes to keep his roles minimal and let the director work with his lack of experience. He's a very humble guy, which makes me really appreciate his performance in this one. He does a bit more. He's not as hokey or dim-witted as maybe in Guardians, but he is a simple man. He has a simple code of conduct. He's got a simple role that he likes to fill, and his role is to assist the nurse in anything she needs. And I thought he did a fantastic job here. I had no real complaints. I mean, some of his line deliveries were a little hokey, but I thought it was really great. And I don't know if this was intentional, but there was a little line in the movie that kind of references Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson that I feel like ties to him. And if that was an intentional joke, I gotta say, that was good on you. I thought that was a funny little kind of wink to The Rock versus Dave Bautista. So, and if it wasn't intentional, happy accidents. Another character I want to highlight is Waikiki, played by Sterling K. Brown. And for those who don't know him well enough, and believe me, I only known him from one thing, and that was from the show Supernatural, where he played one of the antagonists in the early seasons against Sam and Dean Winchester. So when I saw him being a lead in a movie like this, I was actually really excited because I've rarely seen him around, and it's really cool to see some of these TV star actors get a chance to shine on the big screen. And while he was an intense guy, his performance of what he had to deal with in this hotel, I mean, he originally came to the hotel to tend his dying brother who was shot during a heist, and while things started to go batshit crazy at the Hotel Artemis, he really was trying to remain in control, keep a plan going, but ultimately a lot of those plans never go quite the way he wants them to, as much as he tries to stay strong at it. But I'm just happy he did a fantastic job here. I hope we see more of him in future films. Sterling K. Brown, you're awesome, dude. Now, there's many other characters I would love to go over, but there's just so many. I mean, you have Jeff Goldblum in there, you got Sofia Boutella, you had Zachary Quinto, and one of my personal favorites, Charlie Day. To me, one of the highlights is just how kind of over the top some of these characters are. They're not cartoony, zany or anything like that, like say in Pacific Rim or the Kingsman franchise. They're a little goofy, they're a little hard edge, but they are kind of archetypes of what you expect them to be. So they kept my retention pretty entertained, and it was just fun to see all these different characters. So to tie into that, what fascinated me most about this movie is that it was kind of hard to tell who was quite the protagonist, who was going to backstab who. It was kind of like a little bit of a mystery murder going on. Like there was no specific setting for that per se, but some of these characters who really don't have much to do with each other do share some background connections with each other and do have certain things that value others that maybe the other person. Bear with me on that. So I was quite curious to see where, especially like Sterling, like I was wondering, okay, we open the movie with him. Is he the protagonist? But there have been times where I'm like, do you think he might backstab or do something crazy? Is he like a loose cannon? Charlie Day's character is pretty much Charlie Day, just with more attitude and a superior complex. Sofia Arbatella kind of plays the femme fatale that you would come to expect, but she takes her assassin job really seriously. It was interesting to see, like, who is the person I should be rooting for and who is the person who I want to get their comeuppance. But obviously the whole thing is that Zachary Quinto pretty much introduces himself in this movie as the ultimate antagonist asshole, so it was really fun to see him kind of like not be Spock or some of the other roles he's done in the past and just go straight up mad. He real mad. So I thought the tension was pretty good there. It kept me guessing a little bit, but wasn't really like insightful or like thought-provoking, except like I said with Jodie Foster. Her whole backstory, her whole connection to all these different characters really paints a picture of like the struggle she went through to get to where she is and why she is still struggling to this day. Speaking of which, one of my other pros, which I did not expect this movie to take place in the semi-future, 2028, I believe, so I was actually really surprised to see holograms and sci-fi shit. I mean, everything was still grounded. I mean, you had guns, you had like dirty streets of LA and all that stuff, but there was like advanced technology like 3D printing, making organs and all that kind of stuff. I thought it was really cool. I was like, I'm guessing it was based off a book, or well, again, Drew Pearce wrote the movie, so maybe it was based off a screenplay he wrote a while ago. I don't know. It kind of had that book feel to it. Like I felt like it was based off a source material or adapted from a screenplay that was just kind of on hiatus for a while. Either way, I really like the hotel itself. It kind of reminded me a little bit of BioShock, a little bit of an artistic direction that you would expect from Guillermo del Toro, the Pacific Rim and the Shape of Water guy. Fantastic director, by the way. It was a really cool setting. I thought the cinematography did a good job getting the lighting down, the visuals. It really felt dirty, but it also felt comfy in a weird way. And each hotel room is based off of a specific location, hence Honolulu, Niagara Falls, all kinds of like different locations. And I don't know, I just thought it was a really cute aesthetic. I really enjoyed that part. Now to get into some of my cons, the things I didn't quite like about this movie or it kind of bugged me or nitpicked about. And for one reason, while I do praise the environment, there are times where I felt like it was a little claustrophobic. It felt very intimate. It didn't really feel vast, this hotel. It just felt like a couple hallways and a couple rooms. I think that's probably where the other issue I would have had is that the movie kind of felt like a TV movie in terms of setting and limited budget. We were very contained. We were very much stuck in a certain setting, and I didn't really get the vastness that I did as, say, to John Wick's The Continental Hotel. That was vast. That was intricate. And I loved the world within a world that hotel was. But Hotel Artemis was just kind of limited to one floor, maybe the roof, maybe the basement. But I guess that's where the one part where I really didn't like the setting. It just felt like we were stuck in one place for a little too long. So unfortunately, that's just how it felt like to me. And speaking of TV quality, I will say that editing was kind of strange for me. I'm still trying to figure out how to properly critique movies and their pacing and editing, but in this case it kind of felt like a meanwhile kind of editing where one event was happening with a set of characters, but then we just suddenly cut to something else and it's like, meanwhile these characters met and are talking about something and maybe tense about it. Meanwhile these characters are continuing doing their hospital thing, and then once we're kind of done with that we move on back to the other people and it felt like no time has passed. It felt a little strange to me there. That much I'll say. That might be off-putting for some people, but if you're able to like fill in the blanks yourself, that's totally fine. I think you'll be good. It's like watching like a TV show with a slightly higher budget and really cool cast members. And the last con I'll get into kind of ties into that. We didn't get a lot of backstory or world building right off the bat for a lot of these characters because this is a star-studded cast filled with a lot of great actors and performances. But the problem is that it kind of like an ensemble film. We don't really get much of who Sterling's character was, who was Jodie Foster's character. I mean, we got mostly her backstory, story. But guys like Everest, Dave Bautista playing him, not so much. He's just more of like someone who's like really loyal to Jodie Foster, the nurse, and he seems like a guy who could go on the edge of saying like, no, I don't like what's going on here. I'm gonna double down on my criminalness or whatever. Yeah, we didn't get much of why he was so loyal to her. It's just that maybe it was just year buildup. And there were other characters who came in who said like, oh yeah, by the way, I knew you at one point. We don't really say why. It was like, I kind of knew someone you knew, so help me out here. And it's like, I guess that's where the real crux fault this movie has is a lot of characters, not enough emotional connection or history there. There is initial, like, exposition of history, but I don't personally feel like I felt it. It was just told to me that was the case. I fill in the blanks, which I do that a lot in movies, so that's why I'm not super critical all the time with these kind of movies. But I could definitely see where this might bother some people who like to receive more information and more emotion from characters. So that's something to keep in mind. Not a whole lot of that I saw in this film. Maybe there was, but again, there was a lot of characters. There was a lot of cutaways, a lot of settings, arcs going on, all at the same time. Maybe it was just really hard to retain all that information in such a hour and a half to, I don't know how long. This movie didn't feel too long at all. So overall, guys, I pretty much enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a really good, kind of like a Saturday morning movie screening. Like if you don't want to go to like a blockbuster or see a superhero movie or whatever, and you just kind of want something like a little bit more laid back, still kind of fun action, some quirky characters, but nothing like too crazy over the top, I definitely recommend this one. I give it a thumbs up. Solid movie. I feel like it needs to be more vast, and they're kind of setting it up for like maybe more movies with not just Hotel Artemis, but some of the other locations. They kind of like name dropped a couple other criminal hospitals around the globe, but something tells me that this movie might not do super well. But hey, if you have free time and you want to pay matinee prices for the movie theater, or if you got like Movie Pass or Cinemia, I definitely recommend it. I think you'll have fun. Plus, it's got Jeff Goldblum. Who doesn't love Jeff Goldblum? Alright guys, did you see the movie? Did you not see a movie? Is there something about it you're looking forward to? Let me know your thoughts about the film overall in the comments section below. I would love to hear them. That'll do it with this non-spoiler review. Hey, if you enjoy reviews like this one, I recommend check out my playlist here. Or if you want to watch a random video on our channel, click here and be sure to subscribe. This is Matthew Sella saying, to be continued.